Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Alton Towers for its Scarefest event, which I'm very happy and blessed to be taking a part in today. I've already had a vlog here from the first half of the day, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it, where I ride all the major rides, give my impressions of each. But for tonight, even though I'm going to do probably 3 coasters in this vlog, the priority is going to be the scare mazes, the scare zones, and possibly the dungeon if I can fit it in, which is where I'm off to right now, but we're going to hit some scare zones along the way. So here we go, Alton Scarefest 2022. We're going to do a scare maze first, the attic. Probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. Sadly, you cannot shoot inside the scare mazes, so we won't be taking you inside. However, I will definitely give you my impression on the way out. Just finished the attic. Probably a perfect start overall to this experience. It's been around for quite a while. What to say? You basically go into an attic, you climb these stairs. There's a real excellent pre-show. I wish I had my Holiday World vlog up so you could see the amount of lack of energy that the employees there read off the introductory spiel. It was actually comical when you compare it to something like this where it's like world class. I said it in my Blackpool vlog that the actors in these scare mazes are second to none, probably because of their backgrounds in theater. You're just getting the best possible actors to take part in this kind of event. So if anything to take away, the acting is stellar. Even though there was only one pre-show room, you go up into the upstairs to the top, and then you go through the attic, which starts out as this sort of weird, possessed, lots of dolls around, lots of sort of shelving with eerie objects with blue lighting that shine through, and then a bunch of actors sort of hidden within the details. And then you meander through these very tight corridors, and progressively the surroundings become a little bit more morbid and taken over by an odd presence. And then you run into a bunch of weird characters at the end that chase you out of the building. The interactions I had in there with the other people that were on it with me were like fantastic. It was like an intense experience of screaming all over the place. I thought things were gonna get knocked over in there, but they didn't. Excellent, excellent. 7.5, I'd say maybe an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It was that good. All right, we're off. I'm not going to do the dungeon today because unfortunately there's just not going to be enough time. We're going to do the mazes, and then we're going to end with a special coaster after all is said and done. Next to conquer is the invitation.
Experience that takes place in complete darkness, featuring special effects including loud noise, smoke and strobe lighting. You may be split up from the group and invited to sit alone. You are chosen for any light-emitting devices including smartwatches, mobile phones, photo and video recorders are strictly prohibited and must be kept in your pockets at all times. Complete Darkness, featuring special effects including loud noise, smoke and strobe lighting. You may be split up from your group and are
So
invited to sit
I just did the invitation, which is this audio experience all at night. I got one word: boring. That kind of was. If you're gonna come here, don't do this because the wait was the longest. It's the newest attraction. I don't know. I just didn't like it. It could have had a lot more potential to it, but yeah, it's just a bunch of queasy noises and sensory overload in your ears. Like, cool, stereo sound is something that's been around for like 50, 60, 70 years. Yet for some reason, this is like, when you consider the price point of this particular event and that experience, not really feeling it. So we're off to one of the better mazes that I hear is probably the highlight of this entire event. To hopefully counteract, which was a very rubbish maze. Yeah, that was, I did not like that at all. I'm gonna give that a 1.5 out of 10 because yeah, it wasn't worth it. So now I gotta hustle for the rest of my night, hopefully to get 3 things in before the night is over. The invitation, my invitation to you is to skip it. Next is Darkest Depths, which from what I've been hearing is the best of these attractions. Hopefully it's a shorter wait than the invitation. We're gonna go through this Whispering Souls. So we're allowed to film in this particular attraction, which is the gardens just lit up. It's as they were just giving us a reminder on the way in, it is a bit of a steep climb getting through. Now we're not going to go through the whole thing, because unfortunately I'm getting nervous about getting my last 3 attractions in before the day is done. Nonetheless, enjoy the bits that I share with you. And the paths are not entirely lit, so I will say this is the best shortcut to Nemesis, however, so I have chosen well. Because I know that just beyond these gardens on the left, you can climb up the hill and you can get there.
Old huntsman on a horse as white as snow. Sometimes he is very swift, and sometimes he is slow. But he never is at fault, for he always hunts at you, and he rides without a thought after you.
So why do you want a Pacific Rim? You must live on this one.
This horse is known as he is coming to his color as I see. He is coming to his
I'm not covering as much as I could of the gardens because I gotta hustle. I've got about 45 minutes, and unfortunately I took a wrong turn. So we're going back up the hill, hopefully get to Nemesis. You really have to plan your day out here and your night in Alton because it takes forever to get to one section to the other. The bigger priority is Nemesis, obviously, so we're gonna do our night ride on it, and then we're gonna go back and do the final scare maze, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have enough time to do Wicker Man as well. I wanted to review Battle Galleons. It's the best maze so far. Very intense pirate experience.
I don't know. How do ghosts travel around?
Doing the haunted walk, so there's some talking tombstones that we just passed there. you can't see me at all. Very, very excellently themed scare maze Battle Galleons was. It started with a tavern that you were invited into by a rather creepy character who then sent you through a mystery door and on your way to your fate, which was, of course, a very intense pirate-filled maze. Lots of scare actors, about 15 inside. In addition to that, you had a kraken that attacked at the end of the experience as well. Smell pods were exceptional. The entire thing smelled like an old ship. Actually, the rooms did change in smell. Covered rather extensively in our vlog from the day. It is the closing of Nemesis in over 3 weeks' time. We're here to say goodbye. Our fast track entrance is closed. This is dangerous, but it looks like it's a straight on. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to get great coverage, but it is time for a final and only night ride on the original Nemesis before it's rebuilt next year. See you when we get off. On Nemesis done. That is one of the best night rides, period. That was unbelievable. Sorry that shot was out of focus, but it is all over the place, and now I've got to do a big run right back to where I started to get, hopefully, to the last scare maze and Wicker Man in time. As per usual, it's a running vlog. Here we go. Unbelievable ride on Nemesis. That was just fantastic. It reminded me of Black Mamba. Black Mamba is probably a little bit of a superior coaster as far as thrills, but I'm speechless. That was amazing. The lighting, everything about it was perfect. If only I showed you. Can you believe that this isn't even an attraction right now, but formerly known as Duel, I believe? I can't believe I'm even stopping for this. This haunted house is going to be going through a retrofit. So the next time that we're here, John Wardley? Why my vlogs always gotta be so crazy? I can see the structure. We're here, we're close. But I still have a scare maze to do first. Oh man, I always try to make these things difficult for myself. Once again, like a complete fool, I completely missed the place where the other scare maze was. It's on the other side of the castle. I could have actually done that earlier. So we're now trying to hustle to do that. And the main reason is, this isn't a cheap event. It's around 31 quid, 31 pounds to get access to these mazes. So it's not cheap. And I'll give a value judgment of that certainly at the end. All right, we made it. And I think there's no line. The sad part is, well, at the end of the day, if we don't make it in time to Wicker Man, which will be unfortunate, I did end the earlier vlog with a dusk ride, but we'll see. But Smiler's right here, so that might be our last ride. It's time for more reviews in the dark, starring me and that final maze, which is finally done. Lots of photo ops going on here. Yeah, that was an excellent maze. Because I'm doing this in the dark, I just had to get everything out before I forget it. If I say reviews it at the end of the night. Skin Snatchers. Wow. Kind of has two different themes to it, being the Skin Snatchers that invite you into this mine. It's been taken over by these creatures that are probably humans, but they like to eat on skin. only maze that I did today that I got to do on my own, which really added to the effects overall. The actors are really into it. Usually when I do one on my own, they want to, you know, pump it up to see if they could scare me. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to cover those interactions because there was a lot of really cool interactions during that particular maze. Whew. I'm out of breath, but the good news is we're probably going to get to our final destination in time. In fact, we definitely will. And then I'm going to pass out, and Alton Towers now has a new fixture for the park. So tag along while I do one more ride on Wicker Man. I also got to talk about the smell pods in that particular maze because they were really putrid when you get to that one room where she's harvesting all the skin. Whew, it was intense. That was probably the most intense experience overall for me. I don't do well with the smells. I also enjoyed the gift shop that was the second last room before you exit. And then you have this like wall of skin that you go through. Very effective. The guys at the front were saying it's 7 years that maze has been here. So I think it's a good chance it won't be here the next time I'm here. Through the trees, it's time one more time for Wicker Man. My first night ride. I've had a morning ride, I've had a dusk ride, and now a night ride. I don't need more than one, really. As I will cover this probably on the way out. As far as the quality of this coaster is concerned, it's not the most intense. It's not the one. It's not one that I'm like desperate to re-ride over and over. But I certainly am at night. Wicker Man behind me. You might say, why is Alton empty? Well, Wicker Man was delayed for 45 minutes, so I was on the last train. It was I'd say a third Zen ride, as there was just a couple rows in front of me, but I bagged. It wasn't actually a bag, it was just a very rational look. I've done 2 rides in the front today. This is my last ride, possibly for a long time, so hopefully I could get the back seat, and sure enough, they were able to comply. Whew. Speaking of this scare event overall, I have to say I'm not really feeling these generators for lighting. It really takes away from the atmosphere entirely. And speaking of atmosphere, there is just no scare zones. There are no scare zones, so it seems kind of ridiculous that, for anyone that doesn't pay to go through the mazes, they don't get any offering of true Halloween stuff. other than the live show, which is going on all night and all day. Like, those shows do not stop. So, and there are some scare actors, but we only saw them wandering around during the day. I didn't actually encounter any of them at night. Lucky us, we get a final ride on the monorail, if we catch it in time. Although the door was closed behind us, so I'm pretty sure we're good. I did want to get on this thing. The last one. Last train on Wicker Man, last monorail.
Mind the doors, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back aboard the monorail here, taking you to the car parks, hotels, and other attractions. My name's Harry, and myself, with Gertrude in the car, we're going to take you straight back down for one final ride of the night. Please remain seated, keep arms and legs away from the doors. Please do not eat, drink, smoke, or vape on board. And sit back, relax, and away we go.
And with that introduction, how else can you end the night? Final train back to the car park. Whew, I was not looking forward to walking back to the car, especially. But I can sum up everything in the monorail. As far as Scarefest was concerned, I did have some concerns, and I heard it before, that there were no real scare zones. And I had said a bit before, no real actors about that I encountered, which is unfortunate. So the atmosphere outside of the maze is 100% lacking. You barely know that it was a trick-or-treat or Halloween event or a scare event based on that. The generators, the lack of smoke, overall park atmosphere. Now, you did have the gardens lit up to give that effect somewhat, but yeah, I could definitely think there's improvement to be had there. Wicker Man's last ride, really an emotional experience. It was just kind of like, I got to a point where I realized how hard and how much it's taken to get to this park and to experience that ride. And it was absolutely incredible. That is the best themed roller coaster, I'm gonna say, in the world. And that's like, there's a lot of them. But I just honestly, from that night ride, I would say that was the most impressive thing I've ridden in the night, period. It was unbelievable, and it was designed for that, so big, big kudos. 3 great scare mazes, 1 not so overwhelming, and I wasn't really about that dark audio-based experience of the invitation. I had said to one of the park employees that it just kind of seemed like they were cheaping out a bit, because I know they've used other sectors and older attractions for mazes before, so as I've seen in other parks, it definitely seems like they're pulling the strings a bit on budget for scare attractions this year. Anyhow, Wicker Man was delayed for 45 minutes, so I got on that final train, but now I'm a bit knackered because of it. So it's around 10 o'clock. It's just getting past 10 o'clock. I'm going to go back to my hotel and then get back to a couple of parks. Well, there's actually 3 parks, essentially, that I'm doing. 2.5, if you will. I'm not so sure the vlogs will be posted in a row, because these scare or Halloween-based vlogs will hit first. So if you want to watch that day 1 vlog of Alton, it's going to be posted later.
Well, there we have it, folks. We have arrived at the station car.
Alright, guys, I better go. Chessington tomorrow, Thorpe Park, and Tully Scarefest. It's going to be a crazy day. Thanks for watching. Always enjoy.
On behalf of myself.
Anecdote, and I'm not sure that they'll find me, but the poor family that was ahead of me in Wicker Man, I just caught them on the monorail. Oddly enough, they had been in the park all that time, so they could have still actually got on the train, but they didn't. So it kind of felt bad, because I had to say, oh, that was unbelievable. It was just because it was. We are going to our car parks, but I don't know where I'm going. Anyway, that's a wrap here, guys. Unbelievable day here at Alton. I was literally the last person to leave the park, so I've made the most of my time here, and it probably won't be long before I'm back again. Anyhow, thanks for watching.